How's it going, boys? It's me, your favorite snake oils merchant, and today we're gonna be doing one of the most fun things in the world. We're gonna be analyzing things. And we're gonna be analyzing today the console wars, the conclusion of the console wars, by the way, because it's pretty much written in stone at this point. PS will completely overtake Xbox in the next upcoming 5 or so years, and especially when the new generation of consoles gets released if Microsoft does not step up their game plan. And I'm gonna be explaining in detail why some things matter, some things do not matter, and so on and so on and so on. Essentially, if you ever wanted to become an analyst, then this is your golden opportunity, because I'm gonna be sharing a lot with you here, boys. So first of all, a thing I found by accident, because I did not want to look at price ranges at all, even though price ranges are a very, very interesting thing when you are looking at, anything sold when you have as low competition as only one other person. So price ranges matter. We're not going to be touching on price ranges too much here, but I am going to be showing you what is something that you should be instantaneously discerning as someone who is an analyst, or someone who wants to become an analyst. So, first things first, boys, the first real lesson about being an analyst. I don't know what is a PS5 with a disk drive. I don't know what's the digital edition. I don't know what's the Series X. I don't know what's the Series S. I don't know, and here's the kicker. I don't need to know. Boys, we are analysts. We do not care if we're looking at bumper stickers, cars, bread sales, or prostitution ring incomes. It does not matter for us at all. The numbers are the only thing that matters here. So, you don't need to know what a Series X or Series S is. All you need to know in a situation when you're analyzing a competitor against a competitor, you need to know the price range if you're looking at the price range, because the price range will matter, and it will matter a lot. And I'm gonna actually show a pretty simple, in my opinion, to understand reason and example why it matters a lot, the price range, and why timing matters a lot also. So, first of all, I want you to look at this. And instantaneously, when you look at these prices, you should see something very, very off, and something that should not most likely happen. Okay, pause the video, take 3 minutes, you should see this instantaneously. If you don't, well, here's the answer. So first of all, Xbox, let's start at the start. PlayStation 2 and Xbox. One started a year later, one started a year faster, both at the same price. Next year, we have this type of situation. The Xbox 360, and it's $290 to $399. Again, have no idea what's the difference here. And then you have the PS3 and this. And the price is huge. If you're an analyst, you should already be just capable of distinguishing the difference between this and saying what's happening here. First of all, by comparing these 2 years, and then comparing the prices, you should be always able to tell the fact that PS2 crushed Xbox at the start. One, they had one more year time to actually do things, and that is why they increased their prices, because they have no competition, and the only competition at the market is garbage. That's essentially why the price has increased. By the way, I have already checked this here, and no, by the way, I did not check this before I started the video. This is the second take, because when I decided to talk about this, I did not check these statistics at all, and I was just talking about how it should look. And when I look at this, well, everything essentially fits, obviously, because I know my shit. But it took me a very long time to actually find where Xbox is and when there's where PlayStation is. It's an absolute dumpster fire to find things here, so I made a second take. But essentially, that's what you should be able to look at. So let us look at the Xbox and PlayStation 2. So the Xbox is here, 24 million sales, and the PlayStation is somewhere, I have no idea, here it is, 100 million. So essentially, again, PlayStation has no opposition. No one's in the market. No one's a competitor. They can price their prices higher. But then we see the Xbox X and PS4 that they have drastically reduced their price, while the Xbox is still more. Now this only means one thing. Either the PS3 underperformed extremely much, or Xbox got extremely near to them, or maybe surpassed them. Because that's the only reason why PS would drop their price, and the only reason why the Xbox would increase their price. And when we look at the list, when you look at the Xbox 360, 84 million units sold, and when you look at the PlayStation 3, 87 million units sold. Yeah. That is literally how these things work, my boys. It is extremely easy how these things work. Now, obviously, Xbox came out a year prior, and, you know, when you're comparing data like this, a year does matter, by the way. But in this case, considering the numbers are so huge, and we have prior empirical data, you don't need to worry about a single year, in a sense, if the difference between the last and the next product is a couple of years of good data. So that's the first thing. So, yeah, this is the reason, because the sales were so equivalent. Like, no one would ever predict that Xbox would compete in sales in the next gen consoles when 360 and PS3 was the new thing. No one would ever assume that. So, no one did. PS3 also didn't. They thought they have a free market. And PlayStation, did the correct thing and dropped their price, obviously. But the Xbox, being greedy fucks, raised their price. And this is honestly pretty much a goddamn killing blow on itself. $100 difference between two consoles that are essentially almost the same thing when it comes to the majority of opinions. We can just see how, well, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 sales look like. Yeah, this is what it is. And when it comes to the PS5 and Series X, we can also again see one thing. PlayStation is equivalenting the prices of Xbox, and Xbox is not moving higher because, one, they cannot go lower, because it's not rational at this point, but the PS can go higher because they won the last generation's war. Because, well, their prices were much better, and they were probably better in general. Again, I don't know shit about Xboxes, I don't know shit about PS3s, PS4s, PS5s. I understand numbers. And this is what I can understand from this. That the price was most likely a huge deal also. They understood that this price was way too much, and then they cut it off. They understood the fact that if they are under or equivalent to the Xbox price, they will win. If they are under, they most likely thought that they will win hard. If you cut the price by 1/4, but make if you cut the price by 1/5 and make 1/4 more sales, you're still the winner at the end of the day. And that's essentially what PlayStation did. And now the new generation is also there. This is a quick, interesting thing to understand about prices. And it's already 8 minutes long. Jesus Christ, will this be like 1 hour long? Anyway, I hope you could follow that, because, well, it's pretty fascinating thing, honestly. Kind of depends if you're interested in these things or not. But it is what it is. The prices honestly already tell you all the story you need to know. And again, I did not look at this. Essentially, the first time I found this because I wanted to compare PlayStation 1 to PS4. That was the thing I wanted to compare. The fact that we're looking at older things is complete accident. And yes, I could predict the sales numbers just from looking at prices and price adjustments over the new generation of consoles. You should be able to do the same if you have more or less of an understanding what's happening. Again, prices correlate with numbers. Numbers will always correlate with prices. Now, if you're gonna, by the way, ask me what would be better if the PlayStation increased its price or the Xbox increased their price, no. PlayStation's best tactic is to go either under the Xbox price or equivalent to Xbox prices, because based on the sales of Xbox One versus PlayStation 4, they are winning and they're gonna continue winning as long as they do everything right. And considering there's a huge thing called regional data, well, trust me, PlayStation understands the game and they are absolutely crushing Xbox in decision making. That's like the whole take of this video, honestly. Okay, so this is no longer useful, but this is what you extrapolate from seeing something like this. It's only prices, but from those prices, you easily get the history of sales. And from the sales data, you can easily estimate prices and how they should look, how they will look. Depends on, obviously, the company's strategy. So, that's a thing. Honestly, doesn't do much. By the way, when you're like looking only at PS prices and so on, you're gonna be looking regionally and comparing the old prices. Amount of sales compared to a price to establish the best price, so most people buy it, and you're making still more money. Okay, so that's what we have covered. Second of all, I wanted to talk about things like this. Completely retarded analysis of situations, like the predictions of the next generation console sales. Now, how the fuck do these people actually get these numbers is literally ludicrously beyond me. Because we have this thing called imperialistic data. Oh yeah, it's the data of all things. Like, I don't know if this, let's actually check. When was this published? I have absolutely... Tuesday, June 2020. Okay, so that prediction is old. It doesn't actually contain the current data that we see here. And by the way, this is what I'm talking about when we don't care even if a single number is off by 30%. It does not matter at the grand scheme of things, and I'm going to explain why it does not matter. So first of all, it doesn't matter if they did this before they knew the 2020 results of sales. No analyst worth shit will ever give you a number as fucking bad as this. This is absolutely insanity. So, they get these numbers essentially by looking at old empirical data, and then looking at months, adjusting the increase in months, and then making a projection by increasing... Well, essentially they're just multiplying it by months and months and months and months between the difference percentilely. That's what they are doing. So, if you look at older data, for example, look at this. 2017, PS sold 20k copies of this, Xbox sold this. 18, 14, 9 versus 3. Essentially, PS is selling around 3 times more per month than Xbox One is. This number alone, for anyone who understands statistics outside of math, will completely tell you instantly that prediction models like this are fucking not gonna represent reality at all. And we can actually see it already here when you look at, you know, the amount sold here. Admittedly, if you look at imperial data, you think that PS5 should sell more, and that is true. If I was making a prediction, I would say that PS is gonna sell more, but they're still selling essentially 2 times more than Xbox. But when you look at the predictions here, they don't make fucking sense. PS has crushed this. Looking at the old imperial data by pricing, by units sold, it makes absolutely no sense from an analyst's viewpoint that the PlayStation 5 would only overperform not even 2 times better than an Xbox Series X. It just doesn't make sense. Unless PlayStation 5 is complete fucking garbage and the Xbox Series X is the literal goddamn heaven sent, this is never happening. Predictions like this will never fucking work, happen, and they are unrealistic, and everyone should understand that they are unrealistic. These predictions get realistic about this point in time, because I think most likely people have based this on pre-orders. And when you look at something, for example, like, where is it? Can't find it. It should be somewhere here. I have a link for this. Look, if you look at something like this, it would make sense, the predictions, because this is at the very, very start of the sales. And by the way, this is very important. This is like the whole reason. This little picture here is the whole reason why I actually am making this video. Pause it, look at it, and tell me what's wrong with this and why Xbox is fucked. Because these couple of lines of text instantaneously tell you why Xbox is fucked. I'm gonna get back to that a little bit later, but yeah. These prediction models, completely fucking insane how they actually come up with this. They are unrealistic and no one should ever think that they are gonna be correct. Admittedly, they are kind of more or less correct, but you know, that's most likely based on pre-orders. Which is kind of bullshit. If you even make... Like, if it was based on pre-orders, this is correct. This is a good estimate based on pre-orders. This is a complete shit estimate because this number right here is generated by the pre-orders. This number right here is also generated by the pre-orders. And the incline is the difference between months and months of sales data. And that's because PS5 is selling more than Xbox. It gets progressively larger while Xbox goes, well, as steady as it did. So yeah. Not exactly the most intuitive things, but models like this are absolute garbage because they will never reflect life. If you based it on pre-orders, the only right number is going to be this, and no one should ever guess more than the absolute minimalistic start. Everything past the minimalistic start will be bullshit. So, that's a pretty interesting one. Again, now we can look at things like this. As you can see, I don't know what this is. Well, I actually do. It's Xbox versus PS4 and Switch sales. So first of all, we see a very interesting thing that is a common misconception and a lack of understanding by people when they throw Nintendo Switch in the console wars between PlayStation and Xbox. You need to understand that Nintendo Switch is in no way a competitor to Xbox and PlayStation because it does not fulfill the same function. These graphs are interesting because they literally prove the fact that Nintendo Switch should not be even in the conversation between Xbox and PlayStation. Why is that, you ask? The graphs show it by themselves. You see a spike here from the Nintendo Switch. If they were competing products, you would see a decline at a point or no incline at all from Xbox and PlayStation, or at least from one of them. But considering Nintendo Switch is going up at all the right points, and no one is suffering from that, instantaneously tells you that Nintendo Switch does not even need to be in the conversation of the console wars. It's irrelevant. It will never impact anything. Here is a little bit of an interesting graph. Monthly sales. Now this is the fucking question question of questions. Nintendo Switch obviously gets excluded, but this is an interesting graph. I'm assuming at least one head was rolling on the ground because of what we see on this graph. You can see the Xbox and PlayStation. Look at only the Xbox and PlayStation. What do you see here? Well, you see that Xbox is like slowly declining, and that's okay. But the PlayStation 4, in times when people buy it in mass, well now, this is interesting. It's going, and suddenly it falls. Very, very interesting. Now, you could actually equate this to a Nintendo Switch, but the prior data does not support this, because you see, going up, PlayStation, boom, boom, boom. Unless they had like some kind of super game that was possible on Nintendo, on PlayStation at the same time, like an exclusive deal or something, this cannot be explained. Again, people who bring up Nintendo Switch in the console wars, it's completely irrelevant. We do not see a single data point that represents that Nintendo Switch is some magically fucking how rolling up on PlayStation or even Xbox and taking away their sales. Like, even this graph, when some people may argue that the PlayStation drop is unexpected, well, the Nintendo Switch sales are expected to go in that direction. PlayStation is not expected to drop, and God knows why they dropped. If you're an analyst, you look at this and you're like asking a question at PlayStation. Your only question is literally, the hell is this? Why did this happen? That's your only question. You look at your competitors, aka Xbox, not the Switch, because the Switch literally does not represent anything in form of a drop for either platform. And you go like, how did this happen? How is this possible? That's your only question. So again, this is a very easy example of why the Switch does not even need to be in the discussion. Okay, moving onward. So, these are the estimates of PlayStation and Xbox Series X. These are the estimates over years. Everyone pretty much is coming up with the same fucking exact retarded numbers. But as you can see, there's already a problem here. Because the Microsoft Xbox Series X and S were supposed to sell 3.9 million, and I'm assuming, where is the other chart that we had here? I'm assuming that that's pretty much also the same exact thing. Don't know if that's the same exact source, honestly. No, it's not. The numbers are different. Doesn't fucking matter. They all did the same thing because no one wanted to speak the truth. Again, when you look at something like this, you want to base it on past imperial data, aka the sales that we discussed already here. If the price point is nothing extravagant, you cannot predict something that like Microsoft Xbox will sell 3.9 million copies and the PlayStation is gonna sell 5. No, that is in no way something you predict like that. Absolutely out of the question. The past imperial data does not support this in any way. It doesn't matter how many games Xbox is saying that they're gonna release. It does not happen. Unless a company is screwing up something big time, a prediction like this is absolutely out of the question in almost any sense of the way. Again, I'm not sure how these people actually get this. I think it's pre-order numbers. I do think it's pre-order numbers. There's no other way to explain this, in my opinion. How they actually got these numbers before the year actually ended. Maybe they based it on sale on the first days of sales, but that's actually, again, the thing is, you can't base it on the first day of sales even. Like, if you're basing it on the first day of sales, again, does not compute based on empirical fucking data. Because you can see this. PlayStation accumulates their overwhelming majority over a period of months and years. The first day of sales is going to be more or less equivalent in a lot of cases, even for situations where PlayStation is selling previously sold double the number of Xbox One. Essentially, they're gonna have a lead, that's for sure, but that lead may not be even 2 times or 3 times bigger. Because at the start, all the fanboys buy it. And that's like the thing. Also, there's a PS shortage, by the way, scalpers and all of that things. A lot of people could not even buy it at the first release. Admittedly, here you have the defense of Microsoft saying, Microsoft's production did not work, blah 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 blah. The only reason they did not sell more than PlayStation is because, yeah, that's also a nice discussion point, which is completely wrong, by the way. So, here's why that discussion point is completely fucking wrong. PlayStation also could not sell their units, so essentially, Second of all, Microsoft knew their target what they're gonna sell. They had expectancies, and the fact that Microsoft Gold was increased in price literally means that they did not reach their expectancies. Even without even with the production problems and everything, they have not reached their expectancies, and they understand the writing on the wall that they are not gonna be winning this. Also, here's the big point why Microsoft is gonna lose. So, this is the Xbox One sales in Japan. Regional sales matter a lot. Because there's this thing called untapped potential, unused potential. And that is literally the name of Japan. Japan has a culture where PC gaming, PlayStation gaming, Xbox gaming is not really the most popular thing. They game on their phones, which is dumb. But slowly, the trend is turning. If you look at the Xbox One sales in Japan, they are minuscule. Absolute fucking garbage. 0.3%, 1,000 units. Oh my god. And then you compare it to PlayStation 4. Asia, Japan, 8.3 million. This is where you start looking at total numbers sold and what that means regionally. This is a very important part, and this is the whole reason why this video exists in the first place, boys. PlayStation is in the Japanese market. Yes, it is in the Japanese market. And it is selling hundreds of percents more than, well, thousands of percents more, essentially, than Xbox. And this is why this thing, as stated previously, is very importante. So, did you figure out what's the problem here? I already just gave you a hint 5 seconds ago. It is, look at Asia. Look at this. PlayStation 5, 152,000 sold. Xbox Series X, 30k. Considering we know the tendencies of the previous years, the previous consoles, the previous everything, this is what's gonna happen. Xbox will end with just a minute percentile of the total sales in Asia, like PlayStation did, because we're not counting China. There's no reason to count China. I'm not going to go into detail, but China is irrelevant to the Japanese market situation. So, PlayStation will crush it in Japan. Xbox has no hold in it. Xbox needs to start pumping and dumping into Japan like there is no tomorrow. Sales, flash sales, buy one get one free, anything they can, because PlayStation pretty much owns this market. They already literally own this market. The moment the Japanese people become acceptant to gaming on something else but their phones, it's over for Xbox. Their Eastern Asian audience, non-existent. PlayStation, king dominant. That's what's gonna happen. You see these numbers. It doesn't matter how they end, honestly. The next time a new generation console comes out, you know how these numbers will gonna look? It's gonna look PlayStation has sold 1 million, maybe 2 million in the first month. While Xbox will maybe be breaching 100k. That is Xbox's biggest problem. And the moment PlayStation gets a foothold in Japan and they start producing enough money in Japan, they can start to crush the prices, again like we saw here. And the moment they crush their prices because they have the Japanese market, they will drive the final the final nail in the Xbox coffin. Just because Xbox has currently absolutely no power in the region of Japan. It's a huge consumer market and they have absolutely nothing there. I can guarantee you the analysts at Xbox are looking at regional data and they are looking at PlayStation's regional data for places and they are completely ignoring the Switch because hopefully they're not fucking idiots. They're gonna look at this and say, yeah, what happens if PlayStation undercuts our price on the next generation by 100 and we're completely fucked because they can sell 4 times more consoles than us? Because it is possible. Historically, again, here we can already see it happen. We already see it happening. What happened when PlayStation undercut Xbox One? Boom. And because of the Japanese market, they don't have to worry about that crap. Even if they hold the same exact price as the Xbox, they're gonna still crush the market. That's like the thing. All these analyses you see here, it's like 2024. Sony PlayStation, 67 million copies sold, versus only... How is that possible? It's impossible. This is never gonna happen. We already saw, like, these prediction models are out of whack insane. The first initial estimates, I'm assuming it was 100%. I don't know this, but it must be pre-order analysis. There's no other way. And the pre-order analysis cannot be based to predict the future comings of the years. It's never gonna happen. It is literally never gonna happen. If we would look at the like first years of sales for something like for example PS4 versus Xbox One, we would definitely find that the numbers were not 2 times in PlayStation's favor or something like that. Well, maybe there were 2 times, but they were not as big as the end. The accumulative value here is the only value that matters. The initial 2 days release? No, doesn't matter. The initial month of release sets a precedent, sets a linear scale, but it doesn't show the whole picture. Okay, let's look at can we actually... Oh, by the way, a quick thing about Statistica. Never use fucking Statistica. It is literally entry-level garbage. They fucking analyze as shit. The smartest thing they do is get the percentile difference between 2 numbers and then just apply it to the next month and next month. It's just... Never use Statistica. Never pay for Statistica. It is garbage from start to finish. This is the most lackluster... Like, every time I'm researching something and I come across Statistica and I open it, I just start to laugh because of how fucking shit the data is. Jesus Christ. Also, here we can actually see a tendency, which is very important. Reselling, second-hand sales, and scalping. The scalping prices indicate a huge proportion of what's happening. If Xbox had a chance to become bigger than PlayStation, if it was actually a representative of this number right here that's possible, the Xbox prices would be higher. But they're not. They're 2 times under eBay. And you can't try and say this it's because they performed essentially a one-time verse. Well, PlayStation performed 2 times better than 100% better than Xbox. You could say that, but that's not essentially the case for most situations, because you see the price fluctuation. 720. Well, maybe that's like the cheap version, or PlayStation didn't have a cheap version. What was it? Yeah, the PlayStation doesn't exactly have a cheap version. $100 difference? No. It's not happening. It's just literally not happening. Second-hand markets are an easy way to actually show how much interest there is in something. The prices are an extremely good, potent way of actually discerning the future of some situations like this. Again, everything that points towards this type of outcome is impossible. Unless Microsoft changes something, it's not happening. Xbox is never beating PlayStation at this rate. Especially, again, I can't stress this out enough. Some people are probably thinking these numbers are not a big deal because overall they're not the biggest percentiles. Trust me, they're a fucking big deal. This is literally what you... If you're an analyst at Microsoft and you're looking at the Xbox sales against the data versus PS sales, you're looking at this and you're fucking trembling. Because this number can easily get a 1 0 or 2 zeros up next time the next generation of consoles comes out. And if you do not have a foothold in a region and it's all dominated by Xbox, by PlayStation, well, why the fuck would someone buy an Xbox when the only thing people use is a PlayStation? Even a price cut will not make people buy an Xbox if the market is completely dominated by PlayStations. It just doesn't work. Xbox needs to fix Japan instantly, as soon as possible. Because again, if we look at the PlayStation 4 sales, 8 million Xbox sales. Japan, fucking 0. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is. And it's only getting verse and verse and verse and verse. as the Japanese culture changes. Oh, by the way, if you're an analyst for a specific company that does one specific thing, you should probably understand the small nitties-gritties of the things you're saying. But if you're an analyst worth shit, you don't need to care what you're saying. You just need to look at the prices, you just need to look at the sales, you just need to look at the competition, you just need to look at historical and imperial data, and you should be finding what you want to see. So yeah. Oh, also, a small quick note about the Xbox gold prices or whatever. So first of all, they increased the gold price like 2 times. It doesn't matter what they increased, 2 times. My opinion is they never intended to keep the price because they knew that the backlash is going to happen, so they intended to lower the price instantaneously when the backlash happens. A company never does something like this unless they're lacking something. Usually that lacking something is sales marks and budget fulfillment. If a company is lacking one of those 2 things, essentially they're gonna have to boost prices for something because, well, again, Xbox Series X underperformed by all standards, especially considering they could not make enough copies of it. Admittedly, they never banked on it. Oh, by the way, the thing about there was a financial report about Microsoft, and it said that Xbox is doing fine and all that shit. I have done quarterly reports like that. I have done monthly reports like that. I have done yearly reports like that. While I can pretty much safely guarantee with a 99.999% accuracy that Microsoft did not lie about a single number in that report, I can also 100% guarantee you that those numbers are as close to bullshit as you can. Because when you're reporting something like this, trust me, there's 1,000,001 ways that you can make information look good and appealing, even though in reality the outcome is bad. You can find good and appealing numbers, even if the outcome is bad. For example, the easiest example is, I remember only one thing about the report. It was like, hardware sales up 86% from what it was previously or something. So, yeah, it's pretty easy to explain, honestly. Why is that? Okay, it's not easy to explain because that's just one sentence. But they can take like a period of something and say it's up. They can compare it to... There are so many things that they can do. Like saying the hardware is up 86% sales-wise doesn't mean anything good. It doesn't. When people in these reports use not finite end numbers, they're usually hiding something because something's not good. Trust me, I did that fucking constantly. While nothing is a lie, none of those numbers are actually fucking like worth their shit. That's the end line here. It could be a price difference. It could be regional differences. It could be this, that, this, and that, and this, and that again. There are 101 million fucking ways they can make those numbers seem good, sound good, while in reality the end goal is not great. That's how it works when you're doing stuff like that. And it is easy to pull off. Again with these predictions. Wait. Oh, I forgot about this. Maybe it wasn't based... Okay, Series X. Yeah, you see? Xbox One sold 3 million. PS4 sold 4.2 million. The start. It's the start, right? Let's look at it. Yeah, the year 2013. You see, this is what I'm telling you. I actually forgot I found evidence to this shit. But yeah, this is what I'm telling you. The initial data point of the pre-orders or the first month or whatever does not mean shit. You can't base... You can't make a prediction like this based off the first month or 2 months of sales. Again, look at this. This is the starting sales of PS4 and Xbox One. 4.2 versus 3. That's not a 2 times increase. But how the fuck did it end? With a 2.10, 20, 2.2 times increase. Fucking insane. You see what I mean? You can't create graphs like this. And I hate this. Also, by the way, props to this little thing right here. Like, while researching actually data that is even half-baked fucking reasonable, I came across VG charts a decent amount. And I honestly like them the most. Admittedly, when a normal person looks at this may not be exactly appealing to them, because this is actually a lot of information I am looking at, that I want to see. Because it has percents differences between years. Like, whoever the fuck made this understands what they are doing. They even fucking stated, same period. Like, the same period matters so much. The same period matters. If I'm looking at 2 data points, if one is 11 months and the other one is 12 months, I'm not fucking comparing that shit, because that shit's just insane. Or I'm just applying the 12-month generated by previous months and chances. But yeah, so props to VG charts. I went through a lot of places, you know, and this is the only place that actually, like, gave me decent results. Like, the numbers they input seem good compared to all the other fucking trash places like this. Gamingindustry.biz, fucking garbage. Not a single thing here matters what they say. Also, again, statistic is pure garbage, never use it. But yeah, it is what it is, boys. If Xbox does not change their tactics, they're gonna be crushed because of the Asian market. That's the end line. And it is literally there. Because also, you know, when you look at things like this, yeah, this line is going faster than Xbox. And we don't care about the numbers, we just care that the line goes faster. This is why graphs are also important. But yeah, I think we covered a lot of information here. You can ask questions if you want. And yeah, I don't know, there's gonna probably be a bunch of dumb fucking questions, like... So, oh god, I really don't want the questions from analysts who are fucking beginners, and then they start whining about something not being full. Boy, we didn't look in a single data point that did not that mattered. Is it full or not? We completely ignored, and I stated that there are data points that can be even 30% off. You don't fucking care, because they are following a trend that you have established and can confirm. Yeah. Anyway, is there something we didn't cover here? Let's quickly look. Nah, seems everything's fine. God, I forgot even about this. Well, it is what it is, boys. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sensen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any other topics that you may want me to look into, please do. I'm always interested in looking at things like this. So yeah, this was Quizzer Sensen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the channel, check out the Discord, check out the Patreon, check out everything, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.